Yo, welcome to Sig Slayers, the comic signature show, period. I'm Mike the Sig Slayer, chilling with Mark the Honorable Villain. What up, fam?
What's happening, Mike? I love the work of the talent that we have with us today. And even better, he represents California like us.
Yes, sir. West Side. Joining us, we have comic book artist Baldemar Rivas joining us. But before we chop it up with Baldemar, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and please comment. All right. Our next guest, we're getting into the meat and potatoes of the show. Our next guest pitted the Power Rangers against Godzilla. He is the champion of DC's round robin. No one's work flows like this man with this work on Unearth, Robins, and DC Mech. Ladies and gentlemen of the Stash Land, we bring to you Baldemar Rivas. What up, Baldemar?
Yo! What's up? Thanks for having me, man.
Hey, man, it's our pleasure, man. We always like to big up our guests, man. So we're going to just dive right on in. Since it's your first time joining us, we always like to get out our guest comic book origin story. Meaning, how did you get your first gig in pro comics?
Oh, man. I have to rewind just a bit. So I always wanted to be a comic book artist. I found a writer and we pitched a book. We wanted an image book, or just any publisher. So I worked really hard on these 5 pages, got them printed out, went to WonderCon, and I would walk around and show my work, but I never really got a lot of feedback. I think one publisher kind of like broke my heart though. Like I was like, hi, give them the whole like elevator talk, and he just grabbed my pitch and just like put it aside and was like, thank you, and just turned away, and it kind of hurt. So I was like, man. And then I went to art school for illustration here in Kansas City. That's where I'm living now still. And so before I graduated, I knew I wanted to look as professional as possible. So by the time I could get comic work as quickly as possible when I graduated art school. And I interned at the Kansas City Star, the newspaper here. And I tried to get as much published work, and I ended up getting a good hefty portfolio, and then they just ended up hiring me. So I had a job before I graduated, which was awesome. So I only did 2 years. I transferred in, did a lot of community college, which I highly recommend, man. That way you don't spend a lot of money in art school. It's so much money. But yeah, I went to community college, got a nice, good scholarship. And I worked on a 10-page short story of like a bee. I try to make it as easily I could tie it up quickly. So I just made it about a bee trying to figure out how to solve bullying through interpretive dance, because that's how you always do. So I would show that around at comic book conventions. So I had my elevator speech, I had my business cards, I had a website, I had my portfolio was ready. I'm pretty shy dude, so I just try to keep it with 5 minutes. People go to conventions, like these artists, they want to go and they want to, they are selling stuff. So they're selling their books. So I just try to be very cordial, buy their books, and like hopefully they can spare like 5 minutes to give me a portfolio review or a critique, and maybe point me in the right direction. So I would keep doing that for about a year. And I guess I talked to some writers or artists because they recommended me to an editor, and they reached out to me, and they heard that I was making a bit of a buzz. So my first work was Bubba Hotep.
What year was this around?
Like 2017.
Okay.
So I graduated in 2016. So it was like, it took a minute, or maybe I did get it 2016. So yeah, I got Bubba Hotep cover art. So I got the whole series, which was mind-blowing for me. And it was a cool book. And I got a Samurai Jack cover. So I was feeling pretty good.
your frequent collaborators, Cullen Bunn, Tim Seeley, Kenny Porter. What are some collaborative differences working between the three writers?
Oh man, that's a good question, man. Cullen Bunn usually likes, he lives in Springfield, which isn't that far. So there's like a lot of conventions that we kind of cross paths. So we did talk a couple times, and his process is he lets me definitely add a bit more of flair and have more of a conversation of how I want to approach it. So that means a lot for me as an artist. And Tim Seeley, man, that dude's super knowledgeable. His notes on everything on his scripts, he definitely gives a lot of breakdowns and references of where to look up the comics too. So during Robin's, like, dude, this guy pulled up stuff from the 70s and 80s I had no idea. And yeah, man, that dude knows Robin's. And Kenny Porter, he's a hungry dude, man. This dude just like would have one or two conversations. He'll like spiral in his head by the next like day. He would say like, we would just like talk, and he would just tell me like, yeah, I could have a script ready like tomorrow. I'm like, dude, you can just like, no rush, man. But nah, man, he's very eager. He's very on top of it. He knows what he wants, and he has a good story structure. But I love working with people, man. This is my favorite part about like comics is we, spitballing with other creators and see what we can create,
Awesome. Baldemar, let's talk about the Masa Art Collective that you've been building in Kansas City. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so there's not like a lot of like Latino organized. Me being a brown artist and living in Kansas City, we wanted to have a bit more an actual like support artist collective. So I helped start. My buddy started an artist coalition of brown artists, and it's called Masa Migrating Assembly of Stories and Art. It's our second year. We're about to have our second show in September. So it's definitely like all these different type of artists of different backgrounds, and just there's a lot of good talent here in Kansas City, man. So I'm glad we can like unify everyone and try to support us and find a good source of resources that we can share amongst each other. Because we gotta help each other out, and yeah. So there's a lot of pockets that are, we're slowly getting bigger and bigger and getting good grants. And yeah, man, we're slowly growing.
Awesome.
That's what it's all about. When I look through your art book, I see that you take inspiration from all sorts of corners, mostly like the Animal Kingdom and manga/anime, like Astro Boy.
Yeah.
So what is it about manga and the Animal Kingdom that fascinates you?
Man, I was a rowdy kid, man. I was always like climbing stuff, so like, and always had a lot of pets, so I loved animals. I always draw my little like hybrids of creatures, like TMNT and like werewolves and stuff like that. But I went to a fine art school, so I want to make some art. I want to make something challenging and beautiful. So I'm always trying out different mediums, different techniques, because like I also do fine art, and my sketchbook is my baby, and it's easy for me to connect with other artists when you look at our conventions. I always put my sketchbook out, my actual personal sketchbook, and I'll let people flip through it. It's easy connections, and it's what it's all about for me. Like seeing people like see how the process of an artist works. Get a good understanding of how to approach things, and plus it shows you like I have like 10 bad pages before you get to my really good page, but I want to show you that like it's there, man. Like you see a lot of art on Instagram and you're just like, man, this guy like craps gold all the time. Like, nah, man. Like, it just, there's a lot of trial and error that a lot of people don't see that I try to show off. And like, look, this is my process. This is how I break things down. And yeah, But manga, I grew up reading a lot of manga and and watching a lot of anime growing up. Whatever I could get my hands on when I was younger. So a lot of comics and just a lot of Eastern art. So I'm a big fan.
What's your favorite anime?
Man, you gotta come on, man. We all know what it is. I'm sure you guys' favorite anime is the same thing. Is it Dragon Ball?
That's Mike's. That's Mike's. Yeah.
Dragon Ball Z, man. Dragon Ball,
I'm on Yu Yu Hakusho and Naruto, man. I'm that part.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's classic, man. My dad got a big old dish and just got like all the Mexican channels. I don't know. He just like signed up for like a 6-month free trial or something, and that's where I watched. Yeah, there was like Dragon Ball, so I started off like Dragon Ball in Spanish, and there's a lot of edits, so there's a lot of blood and like nudity. Like you see Goku's privates, and and then I would watch an American, and like they wouldn't show the arms being cut off and stuff like that. So yeah, it was really weird. By the time I finished Cell, like people haven't even reached like they were like at Raditz in like Toonami.
Exactly.
So man, you guys are far behind. But
so you was getting it on satellite.
Yeah, man. So I was so into Dragon Ball, man. I still am, but like it was my good jumping off point. And my first manga that I actually bought was where there were like copies of Shonen Jump. So I got Naruto and like One Piece and like a lot of like all of those at the same time, and my first actual manga was Yu Yu Hakusho. Yeah,
that's
dude.
what I'm saying. Classic.
Yeah.
So we kindred spirits. He likes both halves. I love it.
Man.
So switching gears to Godzilla versus the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, we would like to know how'd you get that gig and how's it going?
Oh yeah, I just wrapped up the final issue about a week ago. It was a lot of fun, man. It was intense. It was I love Godzilla, but I've never really he was always in my parameter, but I just never sat down and watched the movies. So I saw Shin Godzilla, that was pretty cool, and then -1, man, ooh,
yeah,
that was one of the best movies of the year, man, for me last year. So it was like a perfect storm. I'm like, okay, now, because I love doing a lot of research when I start a project, and it was already established universe. So I'm doing I did the second volume, so I had to follow the footsteps of Freddie Williams.
Yep,
he's really good at it, man. God, TMNT and Batman. Oh man, he's the guy.
But you had to take it a step up from him, right?
Yeah, man. I'm just trying to do it justice, because I like to put my own little spin on things, But I also got to follow the footsteps that was laid out, but put a little my twist on it whenever I can. But yeah, so I watched a lot of the Godzilla movies, and God, man, they're wild, man. They put a lot of information in. So I remember Violente was just dude, I think that was my favorite Godzilla design was Violente, and I remember getting a bunch of notes on my Godzilla because it wasn't accurate enough. So I'm like, okay, I ordered a Violente Godzilla figure from that movie, so it was a very specific type of Godzilla. I really liked the way he had his eyes in that movie, so I had to base it on the Heisei era. And God, dude, Power Rangers, man, I grew up watching that, man, and that was my thing.
How did you get the gig though?
Well, because I worked with Cullen before, and so we would always talk, crossing paths. It's the comics community is pretty small circuit, especially around in Kansas City. There's a lot of people popping up, and I had my schedules clear, so it was a perfect timing. Freddie was busy, and it just fell on my lap of if you want it. I'm like, dude, I can't say no. Like, you know what I mean? So I was like, okay.
I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna ask you an off-script question, and because you're an artist, and I just want to know you went to art school and all of that, and so I gotta ask a process question. So, how do you produce your work?
Which one?
Like your normal workflow. Are you digital? Do you work traditional? Pencils, inks? Like how do you produce your work these days? Or a combination of the both? I know people that kind of do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, and it's a really interesting question because everything's changing for me, in the sense that I do everything digital, but I do a lot of heavy drawing traditional. I only do digital to keep up with my workload, but with like the rise of AI, it's kind of those things of like it's more valuable now for me as an artist to make traditional work that people can hold and see. So I'm now moving over to traditional. I feel like it's more of a statement of, I guess, the human race that I don't know, not to sound preachy. I just want to make more traditional work, just to show off that it's more of skill than AI, man.
I have friends who are artists, not just in the comic book space, but in the animation space, and I have this one friend in particular, and on social media, he'll say things like, "Is it true like Adobe and some of these software programs, they can take like things from you because you use their software? They can actually aggregate your stuff without you knowing." Is that something that's happening?
Yeah, I'm not super well versed on it. A lot of my other buddies are. They will tell me things about it, but yeah, like I remember like the new update, you can't use it until you accept like the terms or condition or something. Don't quote me on it.
It's almost like the tech aspect of the space, the workspace. And so that's why I want to ask. So you're saying you're in the middle of making a transition to traditional on the commercial work you do.
Yeah. I'm in the middle of that. I really want to do more beautiful pieces of art. I feel like I got to make it more engaging and just really separate more machine in the process for me. And like, I don't know, I have some pretty like sketchbook pages that I feel like I have a hard time replicating in commercial work, but it's something that I've been gearing up towards. I've been working pretty diligently to make sure my traditional style is going to be up to the same par as my digital style. And just to talk a little bit more about the AI thing, is like a lot of things that are like Adobe's in hot water for is like, these are like, they can like steal information that is NDA, like these are like for clienteles, and they get to use that, which is, you're now messing with other companies' work in a way. So it's gonna get a bit messy. So there's gonna be a really interesting conversation and of how that is gonna be worked out.
I was gonna say, you're the first person that I've heard that's doing that, that's transitioning back to traditional. Usually, so everyone's going to digital, but dude, it sounds like a movement, man.
Transitioning to your work with Kenny Porter on DC Mech, I thought it was cool, especially you're a young guy. What is it like to get your take on classic Kirby characters like Darkseid?
Oh man, dude, it was surreal, man. I don't know. I still feel like a little kid inside, like I try to sound like, I'm doing this and this, but like deep down, I'm just geeking out, man. I get a design of my own little Darkseid, my Superman, like Batman, like it's I don't take that for granted, like I fucking love what I'm doing, man. This is sick. To give me that trust to do that, and like collabing with Kenny and talking how we wanted to approach each superhero and their type of inspiration of like manga and anime, and like because we wanted at the end we wanted to do a love letter of like mech, the mecha genre in total, you know, and that's what I wanted to show off, dude. It's a really pretty book. Mike Spicer also killed it, the colorist. He also works a lot with Daniel Warren Johnson, and he just does killer work, man. That dude's sick.
Baldemar, let's talk about DC's Round Robin, the tournament in 2021. How did the Robin titles get entered into the tournament, and how did the tournament affect any creative decisions for that book?
How it happened is I did a Batman 1 million. I'm trying to recall exactly the timeline, but I did a Batman 1 million, and that was, I believe, how I worked with Kenny Porter. And they liked what I did in that short story, and they also asked me if I was interested in doing a pitch, and they already had the Robins. Tim Seeley already worked everything out, and I would just come in. I was just supposed to do just like a little piece of art for it, but like, you know, if I'm gonna do something, you know, I'm gonna go in all the way. So I want to show off all the Robins. So that's the premise piece of the giant Robin in the back with the city and all the Robins grouped together. I did not think we were gonna win at all. Like, it was like such a long shot, and because they had like Phil Hester, dude. They had Vanessa Del Rey. They had all these big heavy names and like great ideas and books. And I'm like, dude, I'll try, but like, you know, every single week or every single like round we would like survive, and God, man, we barely beat the Green Lantern. I will say the fan base of Green Lantern is tenacious. Very huge respects to them. They definitely like. That was such a close round. My editor told me the numbers between the voting, because you can vote between like 3 areas, but I got a lot of votes through Instagram that did us barely over. We won about 80-ish votes.
Oh,
80
wow.
votes, and it was like, yeah, it was super close, but we ended up winning. And yeah, man, I'm very proud of that first round of Robins.
Yeah.
I also wanted to ask, what's your dream project, or are you doing it already?
That's it. It's on the process. It's in the process. Every single project's kind of like a dream in a way that I'm kind of working out. When my first big dream was having a book through Image. Seeing Image and knowing the background of that company was such a big motivator for me that I kept on turning down offers from like other people, and I'm like, I want an Image book. I'm trying to get an Image book. So Unearth was like something I'm super proud of. It's my like, it definitely I'm trying to showcase who I was in that book, because I did the colors as well. So, and I did the covers, like we did a lot of planning, and so that's my baby right there. And I would like to have another Image book later on. I can't really talk about anything like that. But we'll talk soon. We'll talk soon.
All right. You'll be back.
Yeah, I'll be back.
All right. Well, last question here, Baldemar. Is there anything that we haven't discussed that you would like your fans and supporters to know about?
I will be doing more covers for DC and Boom and IDW. So I'm gonna try to. I'm going to be changing my art style a bit with more traditional based. So Dude, I love art, dude. I love drawing. I have a lot of different styles that I like. You know, being comics, I felt like I had to be married to like one thing, but like I don't know, man. People will love you for you, and if you just deliver a good quality product, people will back you 100% of the time. So that's how I'm moving forward. And yeah, dude.
Yeah, man. So be on the lookout. Be on the lookout. Baltimore's gonna be doing some DC covers. You said IDW and Boom?
And Boom, yeah.
And Boom. So be on the lookout for that. Baltimore, thank you so much for joining us, man. You are super chill, man. I can feel the West Coast vibe from you. I don't care where you at. Kansas City, Timbuktu, it don't matter, right? you always have a home here on the Sig Slayers station. So thank you once again, okay? Well, that's all for our show. If you like what you see, please subscribe and hit the like button. This is Sig Slayers. I'm Mike, speaking for Mark and Baldemar Rivas. We are out. Peace!
Sig Slayers.